I've got something fun and totally new today. I'm sublimating custom magnets for the very first time. My cousin owns a resin art business and asked me to make some branded ones for her, so I thought, why not give it a try? I'll be walking through the entire process, step by step, sharing what works, what I learn, and how they turn out. If sublimation is your thing or you're looking for new product ideas, this one's for you. Hey everyone, it's Lean from coloradolean.com. Welcome back to the craft room. Before we jump into Canva and Word, I just want to talk a little bit about the design I'm going to be using today. This is my cousin's branded logo, and it was printed on my Epson SureColor F170 Sublimation printer onto a piece of sublimation paper. So let's go ahead and set this aside for just a moment, and let's talk a little bit more about our magnet. I picked up a pack of 30 from Amazon. These are the magnets that Jennifer Maker used in her video about sublimating magnets, and she highly recommended this brand. Before we get started on the rest of it, we need to definitely measure this. Now, she did have measurements in her video, but it's very important to always measure what you have in front of you. So our magnet is approximately 2 1/8 inches wide. And I'm going to write all these measurements down. And it is just under 3 inches. So I will just make that 3 inches. Now, to make my life a little bit easier, I like to cut myself some paper templates to figure out exactly how much bigger I need to make things. It just works for me visually. So I have this cut to 2 3/8 inches wide by 3 1/8 inches tall. And when I center my magnet on there, I have plenty of room. I do not have to worry that it will sublimate off to the side so that I'll have white edges. I won't have to worry about that. What I did not do is I did not measure my magnet with the printed image. So if you'll notice right here, the text at the bottom is very close to the edges. Let me hold that up so you can see that better. It is very close to the edges. I think what I want to do is reprint this and make this a little bit smaller. And then that way, I'll just feel a little more comfortable lining this up. So let's go ahead and jump into Canva and create our template. And then we'll head over to Word and we'll set them up on the page so we can print them. Now that we're in Canva, let's go ahead and create our template. We'll come over to Custom Size. And before we add any kind of width or height measurements, we need to change this from pixels to inches. And if you'll recall, our template size is 2 3/8 inches wide by 3 1/8. So that will be 2.375 by 3.125. And we will create our new design. Now that we have our template created, I'm going to come over to Uploads, and I'm going to bring over my cousin's logo. To change the dimensions of the logo, I'm going to choose Position. I'm going to make sure my aspect ratio is locked. And I'm going to change the width to 2 1/8 of an inch, or 2.125. Now, to get our logo in the center, we can do this one of two ways. With the position menu open, we can choose center and middle. Another way we could have done that would be to just drag it over and look for the crosshairs on screen. And that tells us that this image is completely centered. So to finish our logo, all I need to do is add a background color. So I will click on the background itself, and we will choose black. And now the logo is complete. I am going to lock this page so nothing happens to it. And then I will come up to Share and Download. And I'm going to download this as a PNG. All right, let's go ahead and head over to Word, and we will set this up for printing. Now that we're in Word, let's go ahead and set up our document area. The first thing we need to do is move all 4 margins. Now let's come to Insert, Pictures, this device. And from our Downloads menu, we'll go ahead and choose our logo and Insert. At this point, I am unable to move my logo where I want. In order to do that, I need to come up to the Layout options and choose with text wrapping, and I like to use tight. And now our logo can go anywhere. With our logo highlighted, let's make sure that it is the correct size. And if you'll recall from Canva, we set up our logo to be 2 3/8 inches by 3 1/8, or 2.375 by 3.125. Word does not go out to that specific degree, so it has changed it to 2.38 inches by 3.13 inches, and that is perfectly fine. I'm going to right-click on my mouse and copy the logo, and now I'm going to paste it 3 more times. And this will give me enough to fill up 1 page with plenty of room to tape. Now that I have my page set up, I'm going to come up to File and Print. I already have my Sublimation printer chosen. However, I want to make sure I come to Print Properties. Now I will be printing this on an Epson SureColor F170 Sublimation printer, so this menu will most likely look different than yours. For paper type, I have 2 options, either rigid or textile. So I want to make sure that rigid is chosen. And for quality, I have standard or high. And now I want to come up to more options and make sure that bidirectional printing is turned off. And then I will choose OK. And then I will print my image. Our images are printed and they've been sitting and drying for a while. So let's go ahead and get our HTVRont Auto Heat Press turned on and heating up. We need to press these magnets at a temperature of 360 degrees. And they will be pressed for 55 seconds. While this is heating up, let's go ahead and clean our magnets with isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free rag. Because this is a really simple image, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these apart with a pair of scissors. Okay, we are up to temperature, which again is 360 degrees. I'm going to bring in a piece of uncoated butcher paper, and I want to preheat my magnets. This will remove any excess moisture in them. And we're just going to do this for 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going to set these aside just to cool down for a few minutes. Okay, our magnets have cooled down. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up on our image. And then I'm going to tape it down with heat-resistant tape. Now on our bottom heat plate or platen, I'm going to put just a little 6x6 piece of white cardstock. And I have another piece of uncoated butcher paper. And I'm just going to put that, with the image up. I almost messed that up. And then I'm going to fold it over. When I was preheating them, that small piece of butcher paper did stick to the top heat plate. I do have another piece of butcher paper that I'm just going to put on the top so I can hold it when the time is done. So let's go ahead and put this in and heat our magnet for 55 seconds. And as always, I'm going to hold my butcher paper to keep the image down. And I am going to set this off to the side for just a moment. It is very hot. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have. There we go. Ooh. Okay. So that is not great. All right, so let's try a little bit more pressure with the next one. I'm going to put my heating pad back on that came with my machine. This will give a little bit more pressure. So I have 2 pads down. I have another piece of cardstock, another piece of uncoated butcher paper, and here is my second magnet with the sublimation paper on top. And then I will place another piece on, again, just so I can hold this in place. So let's sublimate this for 55 seconds. Let's take a look and see how this one looks. No, it's still, and it's, if you look at the image, it's just not taking any of the ink off, or hardly any. Let's try upping the temperature. No, the time. We'll go with the time to 60 seconds. So we'll do the time for 60 seconds and see how this one turns out. All right, this was 360 degrees for 60 seconds. And that's the result. I will definitely have close-up pictures of these. so that you can see the difference if there is any. It's still just not taking off a lot of ink. Okay, let's increase our temperature. I want to be really careful with this because I don't want to go too high. So I'm going to try 365 degrees for 60 seconds. Okay, 365 for 60 seconds. I have my cardstock, my butcher paper with my image inside, and my extra piece. So let's see what happens. I did turn my heat press off because I'm out of images. I didn't print that many. I wanted to make sure that this size worked. So and there is attempt number 4. This was 365 degrees for 60 seconds. There is more ink that came off of the paper. Not enough, but more. So I think for right now, I am going to call this good. I'm going to do a little bit more research to see what they say online, print another set of 4, and I'll get back to you when something works. Before we wrap this up, I want to show you a side-by-side of the very first magnet I made and the final one, and what a difference that is. The image here on the left was sublimated at 360 degrees for 55 seconds after a quick 5-second preheat. The magnet here on the right was also preheated at 360 degrees for 5 seconds. However, I pressed it at 375 degrees for a full 120 seconds. This project definitely did not start off perfectly. I had a few hiccups with my original settings and accidentally pressed this magnet upside down. As frustrating as that was, I flipped the entire sandwich over and ran it through again without expecting much. But to my surprise, it came out beautifully. This magnet did get warm enough to curl slightly. However, placing a weight on top of the rest of them after they came out of the heat press helped flatten them out just fine. That happy accident is actually what helped me figure out what adjustments to make, and from there, everything clicked into place. I'm so glad I kept at it because the final results turned out great, and I know my cousin is going to love them. If you're experimenting with magnets in your sublimation lineup, I hope this helped you avoid a few of the hiccups that I ran into. If you have made sublimation magnets before, let me know down in the comments what time and temp work best for you. I'd love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with a crafty friend. I'll see you next time. Happy crafting!